All right, welcome back, guys. So, I've been getting a lot of questions since we started this channel, and honestly, one of the biggest things that I've realized is that there's a whole bunch of, animosity towards certain types of shoes. So, today, I am going to take the time to really speak about uh, my story and what happened starting from day one when I first fell in love with, getting shoes until today. And I'll share a couple of stories and a few websites that you can visit. There'll probably be some links in the description so that if you want to hook it up, you can find some really great places, get some nice fire, get some nice heat. And yeah, so I remember the first pair of really nice kicks that I got. I was sixth grade, seventh grade, and that was the first year I actually, tried out and made the basketball team. And my mom took me to Gallup, New Mexico. We went to the mall, looked around, and I honestly thought we were just there to just be there, chilling out, not really doing too much for the weekend. And she looks at me, she's like, all right, go ahead and pick out a pair of shoes. And I was like, what? And we were in Foot Locker. And keep in mind, Foot Locker is pretty expensive. A pair of shoes at that time ran you around $60, $70. At this time, it's probably like 110, 120. But that's just going along with everything. Prices get a little bit higher. So my mom talks to me. She's like, "What pair do you want?" And so I look up, and there's this rack. It's really cool. And I grab this pair of shoes, and there were some and one shoes. And I remember back in the day, and one made mixtapes, and that's when street ball started to really take off. You heard people like the Professor, Helicopter, Hot Sauce, Ayo, and uh, I just remember thinking like, man, I want to be like one of those guys, street ball. So I picked up these black and one shoes. They're clean, and they had this inner lining knitted that was the same material of those reflective construction worker jackets. Right, it's like the silver lining, and then when the light flashes on it at night, obviously you see it. It's like really light, and so I got those because I thought they were so fresh. Put them on, they fit perfectly. My mom's like, "Do you like them?" I was like, "Yeah, I love them," and ended up getting them. And from that point forward, like I just love shoes. And I remember I would go to school, and I showed up for our first day of practice with those pairs, and it was like, "Man, Jacob's got new shoes." And I remember the attention, the feeling, and you almost feel like you can actually ball better. You can play, you can jump higher, you can run faster. And I know that's it's almost a ridiculous notion, but at the same time, you kind of believe it, right? You think, yeah, this is what the professionals play in. So, matter of fact, it does work. So I start playing ball in those shoes, uh, and my game just kind of followed suit. I loved them, and my confidence followed afterwards. And to be honest, I've always loved the trends of the day. So those are my first pair, those and one shoes. They're gorgeous and they lasted me quite some time. And then the next one that I can think of that comes immediately to mind was actually a pair that came from the whole white tee, you know, uh, Air Force One, Nelly, and Nike phase, that collaboration, Give me two pair, I need two pair. So I loved the simplicity, and that's one thing I do, and you guys probably already noticed with my style is I love simplicity. Things that are, you know, if I could just wear an outfit, I'd probably wear black jeans with some high top all blacked out sneakers, and then like a white shirt, green shirt, blue, like just like a one tone t-shirt that just looks fresh and clean, follows the body nicely. A watch, my engagement ring, and like a, I don't know what this is called, wristband, bracelet. That's what it's called, silver bracelet. And I would keep it pretty clean like that. That's just my style. And so during that time period, there was these pairs of shoes. I mean, the Nike Air Force Ones, just so clean, white. Everybody had them. And it's funny because I grew up on the reservation, and so you think about white shoes in a place that has a whole bunch of dirt. Like, they were clean for a minute, but then all of a sudden, they look nasty. So I love those. I love those shoes. And so whenever my dad would take me shopping, I would get me some white Nikes every time. And then I'd get me a black pair. White pair and a black pair. White pair and a black pair. White pair and a black pair. And slowly, my taste started to evolve. I started to think, man, this is pretty fresh. I love these pairs of shoes. And I remember one of the coolest days was, kind of fast forwarding into high school. And for Father's Day, I bought my dad a pair of K-Swiss. This is the first time I kind of ventured out of the AN1 and Nike phase, and I was looking at other shoes because I was looking for someone else. It was my dad. It was for Father's Day. So I gave him a pair of size 13s. These K-Swiss kicks. They're pretty fresh. They're black and red, and they have these red stripes. They almost look like Vans. I ended up buying them for Father's Day. So I show up to my house all excited, and my dad's sitting there, and we're giving him all of these gifts, And then I pull these pairs of shoes out, and he's just like, huh. Okay. And he never wears them. He doesn't even try them on. He just looks at them like, why would you ever buy these for me? And I thought, man, these are fresh. I love these sneakers. I wouldn't buy them personally because they're not Nike or AN1 shoes. So the time goes on, and they're just sitting there in the closet. So I asked my dad, I was like, hey, Dad, can I wear these shoes? He's like, yeah, go ahead. So I wear them to school. And I remember how fresh they were on me. I was like, man, these are some smooth kicks. And the whole day goes by, I just get compliments left and right. Jacob, those are some pretty smooth kicks. I was like, yeah, they are. And that's the funny thing. Like, I just really love those pairs of shoes. They were really nice and pretty clean. So what happened after that is I kept wearing those shoes, and my dad eventually just said, hey, you know what? Take them. I don't even care. I'm never going to wear them. You can use them. You can have them. And my mind started to really gravitate toward different pairs of shoes. So later on in high school, I start to venture off, and that's when LeBron was huge. I mean, he still is, but he's huge because he was starting off and he was just taking off. And I purchased a pair of LeBrons. Usually I wore Jordans in terms of my basketball shoes, but I purchased a pair of LeBrons, and I just fell in love with them. There were these white kicks that had gold on the side, this trim. They were smooth. And I remember I had these pair of Nikes that had snakeskin. Some of the coolest and most comfortable shoes I've ever worn, actually. I think they were the Air Maxes, or the Hirachis. I can't remember which pair. And those LeBrons were somewhat low cut. So really, I mean, they were mid ankle, so they went up above my ankle, but they weren't really high tops. Really nice, and I love playing ball in them. And I remember kind of getting to that point. And those were the first pair of shoes that I actually bought that were above $100. And keep in mind, in high school, $100, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Coming up with that is not easy because, first of all, most of the time you're not working, you're at school, and after school, I just went home and studied and ate and slept and watched TV, whatever the case was. So, $100 was a lot of money to spend on a pair of shoes. So I bought those, and I remember I took care of them so nicely for that whole basketball season. It was just got compliments every single day because they were that fresh. I didn't wear them to practice. I wore them only specifically for games. Even then, they got blown out. Eventually, I had to get another pair of shoes, and I just loved those pairs. And then I remember kind of going forward. Um, I still bought a fresh pair of Nike whites, just white Air Forces or I can't remember what it was called. The Cortezes, not the Cortezes. They were high top, clean. It's beautiful. I would get the white ones and the black ones because they went with everything. And then, don't know why, me and my best friend, we started talking about shoes, and he started getting into the kick game as well. And I ended up buying in one day $300 worth of shoes online. And this is what I'm just gonna tell you. We don't have to post it in the link section, but I ended up buying. 6 pairs or 7 pairs. I think it was 7 pairs of shoes. So I remember I was sitting at home on the computer just looking at all these websites every single day, just looking at websites, trying to find where the coolest kicks were. And on top of that, because I didn't have that much money, I was always looking for the cheapest thing to find. So I spent a whole bunch of time doing this, and eventually I found this site. It's called Android Home. It was this guy who was designing these shoes, and he was new as a designer. I had been in it in like 4 or 5 years, so he hadn't established a name that much. And it was the very beginning. And I remember the first time I laid eyes on his shoes, and I thought, perfect. These are incredible. There's the AH Propulsions, which were these high tops, and these celebrities were wearing them. Russell Westbrook, Justin Bieber, Jason Derulo, and they were kind of like, in the same niche as the creative recreation. And we'll get to them in a little bit. But these Android Ohms, they were just fresh, and I loved them to death. I think they were beautiful. And so I ended up buying a pair. I still can remember them. They're this aqua blue, almost teal colored. I actually bought a pair of, for my little sister, I bought a pair of these slip-on shoes that had these blue, and they kind of matched with my shoes. I thought that was kind of cute. And ended up buying those pairs, probably like $50. They were having this crazy sale. Like I said, they were new to the shoe, not very established, and so they had all these shoes that were going on sale, and so I bought those, and I bought the Propulsion Highs. It's black, and then Creative Recreation. They're a shoe company that basically is a lifestyle shoe brand. Matter of fact, I have my computer right here. Hopefully this is going to be at least visible. Okay, I want to show you first the Android Ohms that I purchased. Let's see. Pulled up Aurora Healthcare. That's not what I'm looking for. Yeah. Sorry. Android Ohm. Okay. So, these are just gorgeous. All right. Okay. So this is Android Ohm. right? um, right now they're having the WTF sale, right? So if you imagine, these are the type of shoes. I mean, the first time I just saw them, I was like, man, these are gorgeous. These are fresh. Let's get a better look at them, actually. So you see those? Those are amazing. Absolutely gorgeous. And that's the nice thing about like an independent shoe line is they don't have to appeal to the masses. They can just make something that's completely fresh and completely unique to them, and create something that's just gorgeous. Uh, and those shoes were originally 380, right? Now they're 150. But when the store first opened up, when Android Home first opened up, and no one knew about them, you could cop a pair of shoes for like $60, $50. They even had shoes for 35 because nobody knew about them, and it was something of a I guess luck for me when I found out about them. So these are the propulsion highs that I purchased. Uh, Different colorway, different material, but gives you a good idea of the profile. They have the double straps, and then they have just kind of like the high top look, and then they have this boot almost inspired backing. I remember when I first took them out of the box, they were the lightest shoes that I ever heard, and it's cool because it's like designed in California, made in Mars. That's like their logo. Probably one of the coolest things because they're just light as can be. Really comfortable shoes. So I bought those shoes. I want to say for like $50. Nothing very expensive in terms of what they're selling for right now. This website is completely just blown up, and because they blew up, and he had all the backing of these really good celebrities, he decided to go almost like, I don't want to say Vogue. What's the word I'm looking for? He went high fashion, right? Went high fashion, and now there's not a pair of shoes that are under 100 on this website. Matter of fact, they're basically all about 300. Let's look at this. Right. Original purchase price $770. They're on sale for $180. I mean, they're fresh. Made out of bison leather. I don't know if I want to rock. They're authentically handmade in Italy. I guess that's why he charges so much now. But just really, really high end. And it's funny because I got into this at a time where it wasn't high end, and I almost regret it because they had this sale where their shoes were literally $35. They were just trying to clear their inventory, and they were in the process of creating this new website and going in a completely different direction. And if I was smart back then, I would have, spent as much as possible getting those and sat on them for a little bit and then just turned around and popped them off because they're still, you could still cop a pair for about 160. But back then they were $35 for a pair of kicks. So that's Android Home. I got into that, purchased a pair of their shoes, fell in love with them. Actually, I purchased two pairs. The first one that I bought, that teal that I was mentioning, that one just was, I ordered a pair of size 13s, but they were too tight on me. So I ended up selling them, and I made some money off of it, so that was nice. Okay. Next place I want to show you guys, creative recreation. Okay. So, like I said, this company is all about let's go with high tops. Okay. This company started off, I think it was in a garage. You know, these guys just really wanted to make some shoes, and their whole thing was they saw this void or this gap because everyone was, you know, it was either sport shoes or leisure shoes where you have like, you know, the New Balance 405s, whatever the case is, and there was this void. There wasn't lifestyle shoes, and it was so new. Like even today, I don't understand exactly what they're trying to get at with the lifestyle shoes. So that's what they did, and they come out with kicks like this. Um, Hopefully you can see all of that. But just really clean, right there. Right, just gorgeous kicks. You know, and I remember I fell in love with these the first time I set my eyes on them. Um, these creative Rex, and uh, they were really new to me. Um, so I ended up buying a pair, and they're called Dakotas. I'm gonna show you them because I love them. I call them my stormtrooper shoes. Let's see, Dakota. There it is. Hopefully it pulls up. Yeah, there it is. I want to look at the exact pair that I bought. There it is. Right there. So the thing I loved about these shoes so much is the black bottom, because you don't get that very much in shoes. For whatever reason, they always do white bottoms, and the white bottoms just get really dirty really fast. Whereas the upper you can clean pretty easily; it doesn't take that much time. And they almost look like they're inspired by a Star Wars movie. Like if you were to throw an Imperial Stormtrooper in a pair of shoes like that, you wouldn't even notice it in the movie. It would just be like part of the film. So I bought those pair of shoes, and I've had them for years. Most comfortable shoes. They have just the thickest. Um, I shouldn't leave like, you know, on this note. The thickest. They have like really thick inner lining, the soles, and just kind of feels like you have a pillow wrapped around your ankle. Um, I would highly recommend those shoes. I think when I purchased them, they're $60. Like I said, I got into the shoe game really early, and so I was able to get some really good kicks at prices that we're probably not going to ever see again unless you find some crazy. And that's the thing, like, you know, you're going to find some really crazy looking kicks that obviously make you want to pull out your wallet the second you see it. Like, look at that. Right? They just create fire. Let's see. And their fire is it's deadly. So let me read you the description. This is kind of the lifestyle, like the lifestyle approach that Creative Recreation took. So this pair of shoes, it's a high top. I would cop these in a minute. Wouldn't even second think about them. I think they're gorgeous, right? So uh, it's was the Decimo is what they're called, was designed with the city dweller in mind, and is the evolution of a winterized sneaker boot. So when you think about like lifestyle branding, I guess that's where it makes sense. Their whole approach is creating shoes that match the specific type of lifestyle you are. Obviously, it's not, you know, specifically for a purpose. Like Nike shoes are designed with a sport in mind, right? Like you think about the Air Maxes, those were made originally for running. That's why they have the giant soles, and now they have the air bubble, so you can run and have all that cushioning and support. Then the free runs, then their whole basketball line, every single one of them are made for basketball. But you think about these shoes, like they're made for lifestyle, the city dweller, right? When's the last time you looked up a pair of shoes based on the type of life you live, right? Hey, I live in a rural area. I live in an urban area. I need some urban shoes. Not very often. So this this company did a really great thing in terms of marketing and branding their company towards a specific lifestyle, and uh, won a lot of followers with it, and they're a very big company. So that's creative recreation. I got into their shoes pretty highly. So another place where you can find great deals, like I said, I was going to include in the links description, or the description and links, but I think it'd be better if I just show you the website and you can see for yourself. So, okay, let's see. I gotta remember what it's called first. So 1 second. There we go. Just takes a minute, you know. It's morning. And just woke up. Okay, so there's two websites, and they're the same company. Karmaloop. It's Karmaloop. Kind of sounds like something you would eat in the morning out of a multicolored box. And the website I went to is called Plundr. Plndr. I don't know if you could see that. Plundr. Let's see. Snickers. Okay. So this is where you can get some pretty smooth fire. Um, First thing it pulled up was a pair of $500 shoes that they're actually selling for $200. Hopefully there's a good picture. Okay. Okay. Now, in my opinion, I'm not too big of a fan of this. It's too Michelin Manny for me, you know? Like, looks like marshmallow. This, you have like that snakeskin or python, and then the leather. Pretty clean. Let's look at the side profile. Yeah, it's a clean pair of shoes, but it's not completely original, so I wouldn't go with them. Because when you got to think about it, when someone checks out your kicks, you look it down at your feet. It's a very quick thing where they make a snap decision or judgment, and it's the same thing with you. Once you see it, you're like, oh man, that's pretty fresh, and then you move on. Okay, so that's the hard thing. You have to understand, like, what's worth your time and your money. Right now, they don't really have that much fire. Usually, they have a lot more. It seems like what they're dealing most with is like their apparel, which actually is worth the time. I will admit that, like their shirts or t-shirts. You can get a good, you can get some pretty good shirts for good prices. I think it all comes down to perspective as well, though, right? Yeah, I'm not alright. Nothing too crazy. Okay. Um, Now, here's another place. If you are a true dyed in blue sneakerhead, right? This is a great place to actually get some incredible sneakers. They are authentic, which means you're gonna pay a lot more. It's called StockX, and have a really great line of sneakers. So like the Yeezy 700 Inertia's on here, but you know, if you're trying to sell them, actually, $350 a pair. I don't really think they look that great. I think they almost look Walmart-ish, and that's me being real. Like, please tell me, doesn't that look like a pair of shoes that you would find when you go to Walmart? To me, I think it does. It really, there's nothing too special about it. I don't know about this. I'm not sold on these shoes at all. Not even the slightest. Like, they look seriously like a pair of shoes that you would find at Walmart. And there's no hating against Walmart. I would actually buy some stuff from Walmart. But when you're talking about a pair of shoes that you're gonna spend over $300 on, you know, you might as well get a pair of foam posits. I went there. There's some foam posits. Okay. And honestly, what I want to do is I want to get some reactions actually. So in the comments section below, I'm going to go ahead and look up some really cool kicks. Actually, the story of this. So owner of Android home. There we go. Javier E. Laval. This is Javier E. Laval. He is the one who created Android Home. And look at that. Those are gorgeous kicks. You won't find those at Walmart. Those you could spend a good amount of money on, right? I think they're